Angrosh, smile on you, lad. I was looking for you.
Did something happen?
Cartel broke into our headquarters. Kidnapped Fyodor. Well, that kicked a right large rock a-rolling. Now I'm going around warning my people. It's quite possible that you're next on Parel's wee list. We've given the cartel enough cause for revenge.
Why is the cartel willing to take such a risk for that mage?
Parel just couldn't admit that the guards had the better cards.
Better cards? You just locked Fyodor up without using his knowledge.
But we could have, the way Parel can now. Sure, I didn't treat Fyodor like a guest, but he is a heretic when all's said and done. People cannot just do and say what they want. Everyone is responsible for their own actions.
Really?
By Angrosh's beard, aye, that's the way of it.
Have you heard about the desecration of the Prior's temple?
Yes, and I heard that you done well, lad. Too bad the Rondrians have taken over the case.
It was very strange. There were signs pointing to the Lord of Vengeance everywhere. Maybe this whole attack was just a diversion.
Sounds like the cartel. They're capable of anything.
Why would the cartel willfully desecrate a temple?
Whoever catches the villain, well, the Warunkians will celebrate him or her. And that could be useful to Parel when the balance of power shifts again.
You mean when officers are rewarded again?
Pretty smart, old Parel. Forges himself a dragon, sinks it in Batangar, and then he goes off to Xorlosh as the great dragon slayer.
What?
I mean that Parel wants to swindle his way to fame, that's all, lad.
And what if it's not Parel who's behind the Necromancer, but Folk of Aravor?
Well, if he manages to capture the Necromancer, the Warunkians will celebrate him as a hero.
And he's probably got an eye on Yarkon's position as head of the Rondrians.
Slow down, lad. Metropolitans aren't made overnight. You'll have to kill Yarkon in a duel for that. And he'd be needing a real good reason for a duel like that, lad. Otherwise, he'd have half the Church of Rondra stomping through his tunnel come morning. Outside his door, I mean. With swords, you know, lad?
But many Warunkians would take his side. He could command the Rondrians here, and the city walls would protect him.
At the moment, they're combing the western city. Maybe they'll even find him. And if not, we'll find him. We can do what we want now that the Rondrians are gone.
I'm gonna head over to the old Rondra temple. I want to pick up my sister there.
Fine, lad. Take care of yourself.
See my range for yourself. It's full of possibilities.
People of Warunk, fear the demons. Renounce their temptations and defy their servants. True salvation comes solely from thundering Rondra and her 11 divine siblings. They, and they alone, lifted the heavy yoke of the necromancers from your shoulders.
Do you even know which end of a sword to hold?
He's from the guard.
You hit her.
My wife will be silent when I demand it.
That's enough!
Chiron, drop it.
That's right, my love. It would be a shame if my dear brother-in-law were forced to watch our wedding from the scaffold.
Man to man, Chiron will chop you into bloody little pieces.
It will be my pleasure. When the time is ripe. Men, march!
Didn't you defend yourself?
It's not as bad as it looks. His mother jumped in between us before it got ugly.
What did you do in the temple?
Wedding preparations in the temple, and some kind of test on me.
On you?
Chiron, there are more important things at the moment. Please listen to me. Fulks' mother seems to like me. A lot. I was able to ask her a great many questions, and she talked like a disciple of Namdas. Fulks struck me to stop me from asking questions. She already knows much too much, he said. And he was right.
This test, it had something to do with our magic powers?
Fulks' mother knows something about them, I'm sure. My gift was the reason for the test. When our blood mingled, it seemed to have awoken something.
This just can't be true. Father warns us for years not to mix our blood, but never tells us why. Then some masked elf comes along, and all of a sudden you somehow have to marry the man who pretends to be her son. And when our blood accidentally does mix, awakening some sort of magical powers in us, then guess which same elf has an answer?
An answer she hasn't given me. Just a lot of solemn talk about the power of blood and pain. And that right after Fulk beat me bloody. Very appropriate.
I'm gonna talk to Father. He has to stop lying to us.
As long as you don't beat him to a pulp, too.
What did Fulk's mother check you for?
I think it was some kind of magic test. She wasn't much interested in my virginity, at any rate.
Not much?
In the end, she said it had already begun.
And then?
Nothing more. She just smiled and talked quite excitedly about the wedding. And about freedom, power, and ecstasy. Fulk stood next to her drooling. It was disgusting.
That woman is really strange. Did you see her pointy ears?
I don't think that she's his mother, rather something like his master. And right now she's none too happy with her student. She called him a failure.
Because it's unworthy of a Rondrian to lose patience?
No, he must have made some mistake first. I'm not sure, but it sounded as if he endangered some kind of cover-up. After he hit me, she hissed at him. "Fool! Now it has begun anyway," she said.
Maybe it has something to do with the refugee camp, the necromancer's escape, or the fact that I defeated him.
Or our magic gifts. I don't know.
Calandra, let's get out of here. Father has his citizenship, so he'll be fine. There is no reason to marry that pig anymore.
There are 3 reasons why I should stay here and pretend like I'm actually going to marry Fulk. Firstly, that necromancer is still running around free. He killed off half the refugee camp, and, if I understood you properly earlier, all the signs point to my groom. Secondly, Fulk's mother is the only one who can tell us anything about these strange magical gifts. I just can't believe that Father would break his silence after all these years.
And thirdly?
Thirdly, I know now that you love me, more than a man loves his sister. Even if these people kidnapped me and locked me up somewhere in the mountains, I know you would come to my rescue. So we need not fear.
I won't stand around here and wait until the wedding begins. I want to kill that invocator.
Wait, I found out something else that might help you. Fulk's mother talked a lot about the god Nandus' sons, Demon Master Borborad and Rohal the Wise.
Heresy in the old Rondra temple? Unbelievable to think that the Rondrians would tolerate such a thing.
Except for Fulk, there weren't any of them in the area when she talked about it. She mentioned a Council of the Dead, Borborad's Council of the Dead. It's supposed to be here in Moloch Mountain.
Father once spoke of it. We were very young, he had been drinking and was cursing the Borboradians. Upon his return from the grave, the Demon Master summoned the souls of the greatest scholars from Boron's underworld. He banished them into 3 troll skulls, which had to answer all of Borborad's questions. Whenever they refused, they were plunged into terrible agonies.
I remember. Father said that the skulls only answer Borborad himself, him or his official successor.
Borborad appointed a successor?
If he wanted to ensure that his church would continue to exist after his death, he would have to.
Maybe there isn't an official successor. Then the skulls would have to answer everyone.
Or no one. It would be worth a try. If I understood Fulk's mother correctly, the Council of the Dead is somewhere in Moloch Mountain. This could be our chance. If the Council of the Dead knows the answer to everything, you could ask it anything. About the undead, the necromancer, maybe the Council even knows what other lies our father told us.
Even if this council really exists, the ghosts are scholars, not clairvoyant. How are they supposed to know about us?
Do you have a better idea as to who could help us? Father lies. Fulk lashes out at those around him, and his mother certainly isn't going to tell me anything more.
I've just met a very sage magus.
And where is your all-knowing magus?
In a deep dungeon, surrounded by enemies.
Then it's certainly wiser to get our hands on this great magus than to explore a demigod's deepest secrets.
You know, maybe I'll just do that.
Go ahead. Your decision. But it would be just plain stupid.
So, just plain stupid.
Let's say, a little stubborn.
Talk to Borborad's Council of the Dead and expect an answer. I mean, that just sounds too out of this world.
But it's so nice that you're doing it anyway. Good luck, my hero.
Yesterday,